Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to show you 3 farmhouse DIYs, and I'm starting off with these 4 little pallets. These are some mini pallets that I purchased on Amazon. I'll put the link to that listing down in my description box. And what I'm using today is a big jug of white Craft Smart paint. This bottle of craft paint isn't just acrylic paint. I have used a chalk paint recipe that I found online just recently from Holly at Hot Humble Pie. Her recipe doesn't use baking soda and doesn't use plaster of Paris. What it uses is baby powder, or specifically talc. And I love how this turned out. I was able to use this whole jug of Craft Smart paint, add some baby powder, give it a massive shaking, and it turns into the most beautiful coverage chalk paint and dries lickety-split, because the essence of baby powder or talc is to absorb moisture. So once you have your paint on, it dries so fast. It's even faster than regular chalk paints. If you're interested in seeing how you can make your own chalk paint, go visit Holly's channel and the specific video link where she shows you how to do it. Both of them will be in my description box. As you can see, I am using some nautical rope to attach all 4 of these pallets together, and it's going to hang vertically on my wall. I'm using hot glue and just using my screwdriver to hold it in place until it dries. The space in between the pallets is going to be about 3 inches. Now that they're all attached, I want to make these pallets not so bright white. So I'm taking some of the Bare Dark Wax and a soft rag, and I'm just going to rub some on the pallets themselves just to give them more of a distressed and antique look. Now I'm going to use these galvanized letters that I've had for about 1.5 years. I picked them up at Hobby Lobby one time when I was down in the States, and the letters spell out the word lake. So I'm going to go ahead and just use some hot glue and glue them on really quickly, because hot glue dries really fast on anything that's metal. Lastly, I'm just going to use another piece of nautical rope to make a hanger for the top. Next, I'm going to use these 2 bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the same chalk paint that I used earlier, which is the Craft Smart and the baby powder. And I'm going to give these 2 coats on the top side and then just 1 coat on the bottom. These are some wooden doll heads that I've had from Michael's. I've used them in a couple of other projects, and then I just took them apart. And what I'm going to do is also just give them 1 coat of the chalk paint. Now this chalk paint with the baby powder on raw wood like this dries absolutely so fast. By the time I got around to the other side of the bead or the doll head, where I had started was already dry. So this just makes working with projects so much easier, because I can get things done way faster than if I'm using regular chalk paint. This is going to turn into a riser. So what I'm going to do is I've flipped over the 1 bamboo cutting board, and this is the bottom side of it. I'm going to give it 4 feet, And I'm taking these beads and I'm putting the flat part right at the edge of the cutting board because I want that rounded part of the bead to kind of stick out past the cutting board. So you can see that sort of on the bottom there, that the rounded part is going to be past the cutting board itself. I've got 8 of these beads left, so I'm going to do 2 rows of 4. I'll start by just putting them on the outside edges, matching them up with the beads that are the feet, and then I'll put 2 more in between, gluing everything down with hot glue. The last part of the assembly is just to hot glue the second cutting board on top of the wood beads. Of course, none of my items ever stay pure white. I always do some kind of distressing. This time I'm going to use my dry brush technique where I take a dry brush, dip it into some paint, dab the excess off, and then just very lightly run my brush across the project in the direction of wood grain. I'm doing something a little different this time. Normally I use gray to distress, but I decided to use black and I really love how it was turning out. So I think you might see me doing a few more projects in the future with black instead of gray. My last project for you today is a thrift store flip. I've had this crate in my stash for a really long time, so I decided it was time to do something with it. I'm using water and some black acrylic paint to make somewhat of a stain, just a really loose, watery color, and I'm going to make sure that I drain my brush really well along the side of my little bowl, and then I'll just apply it and let it soak in and dry. It started looking a little dark to begin with, but then as the water and the paint started to soak into the wood, it lightened up quite a bit and you could see some of the wood grain coming through. Next, I'm going to use these metal galvanized garden stakes. I picked them up at Dollarama for $1 for 4 last year and didn't really use them for anything. They're part of their summer and spring garden decor. What I'm going to do with them is put them on the edges of these crates. I've seen a lot of different crates that have like metal edging and some little studs, so I thought I would try and recreate that. I'm just measuring out the length I'm going to need. It's about 5 inches. And then I'm going to just mark that on the stake and use some tin snips to give it a trim. Now that they're all cut, I'm going to start gluing them onto the edges of the crate just with some hot glue. I wanted to add something that looked like metal studs, so I searched around my home and found these metal grommets that I had in my sewing kit. I had these grommets on hand, but if you don't have anything like this and you want to recreate the crate with the metal studs, you could probably use some thumbtacks. You could use a flathead nail that has a pretty big head on the top. You could just nail those in. You could probably also use some metal washers that might be in the garage somewhere. So go ahead and look around your home and see what you can find to make into these metal studs. I hope you enjoyed the video and got some inspiration to craft your stash. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, and share. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell to get notified when I upload new stuff. Thanks for watching.